We want to talk about profit acceleration and what is that and why is that important. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about shifting your focus from revenue onto profit, because all businesses require profit. Charity requires a profit in order to remain a viable charity. But we seem to be talking a lot about sales and increasing sales. I've worked with businesses who have doubled and tripled their sales and have ended up with less profit because all that's happened is their costs have gone up. Okay. So this is all about how do we look at profit, and also then what can we do to uncover the profit that's sitting within our businesses already. And what I like to say is within our businesses, we all have opportunities to discover and unlock profit. So this session hopefully will give you some ideas of where to look, okay, within your business and where you could be finding that profit that's there. I'm not going to make any bones about this, but there is a little bit of maths in today's session. So if you don't like maths, I'm sorry, I apologize now. But the important thing to note with maths is they are just numbers and they're there to help you and to move you forward. So if you have a real phobia of maths, sorry. What I want to be looking at is how we can generate profits and how we can increase the value of our businesses. Okay. And I'm going to show you some examples of that as we move through the presentation. So I'm sure you've all heard about compounding. Compounding is something that we use a lot within what we talk about around profit acceleration. And I'm going to ask you a quick question. Your first test of the day. If we take a penny and we double it every day for 30 days, how much would we have? That's what you'd get if you doubled a penny every day, all right? And for the first week, 10 days, it'd probably be easy, doubling a penny, okay? But when you're doubling every time, each time, and you're using the compounding principle, so 1 penny becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16 and 32, and we keep going, right? When you get to about 10 through to about 20, it becomes really hard, okay? Really, really hard. But what the point of this is that by making a small change in everything that you do, you can amplify what's going on within your business, right? And as you can see, this applies to revenue, this applies to profits, this applies to everything that you do. A small change can move you forward. Why is that important? Well, some of you have already indicated that there are many options out there and we can pick many things that we could go and do. Well, that's great. And it's amazing that when we have many things on our table, but what typically happens is we become overwhelmed. And then we need to go and speak to someone like Sally, who's going to help us overcome our overwhelm, right? But what if we didn't think about trying to do everything, stop trying to boil the ocean, but actually think about the small things that we could do? It actually helps you move yourself forward. And when I work with my clients, we have grand visions and we have grand plans and we're looking at a year ahead and we're thinking about, okay, what can we do this time next year? But what happens with that is if we set that goal and that target, how do we get there becomes quite overwhelming and it stops us from moving forward. So what we then do is we bring it back and we then say, well, what happens in the next quarter and what could happen in the next month? And what could we actually do next week that would make a difference? And so for you today, when you leave this session, I want you to be thinking, like I said, and I'm going to keep going on about this, that one thing. What is that one thing that you can do this week when you leave here? And I won't be checking up on you necessarily, but I might. What is that one thing that you've actually taken away and are doing that is making that difference to your business? Okay. I have a piece of software called Profit Acceleration Software that allows me to work with my clients and use it as a simulator to kind of take examples of what they're doing using their numbers and their revenue and their profit and actually saying, well, if we were to make that compounding change, a 2% change, a 3% change, a 5% change in your business, what would that do to your business? And I think it was Darren, when Darren was here, some of you know Darren. Darren was here last week and he wrote on his feedback form, Rohit loves percentages. Now, I do like percentages. I wouldn't say I love percentages, but I'm going to be talking a lot about percentages. Why am I going to talk a lot about percentages? Because all of your businesses are at a different level and are at different stages. And if I showed you, here's what happens if you had £1 million business, the only person in the room who has the £1 million business would be there going, yeah, that's me. But everyone else would be sitting there going, I don't understand what you're talking about. So the percentages are to help you think about what this could do in your business. Okay. So I apologize in advance. And you can't use that on your feedback, okay? That I love percentages, because I've already told you that one, and I know that. And as I said, that essentially is what profit acceleration is. It's using and leveraging the power of compounding in your business, okay? This is an example of our simulator. These are 12 of the areas that we initially focus on with a client. Some of those areas we will cover today. We'll probably cover 2 or 3 or maybe even more. But we've got a few of those that we're going to go through, okay, as part of what we're working on. And what I'm going to be talking about is the strategies that you can use to help you market more effectively. Looking at this, right, this is a typical business. It's got £1 million in revenue, gross profit margin of 50% and a net profit margin of 10%. If I increase a number of different areas by 10%, you can see the kind of numbers or the kind of impact that that could have on your business. Okay. 796% over 10 of those areas. Okay. That's how powerful, and that's 10%. Okay. When I talk to business owners and we speak about a compelling offer and the importance of a compelling offer, once they get their head around what a compelling offer is, and I ask them what kind of impact that could have on your business, they don't say 10%. They will say, well, I've never really thought about it. And actually, now that you've told me about that, it could be 30%, it could be 40%. That's great. But for my conservative nature, we go with small numbers, okay? All right. These are what we call our low-hanging fruit, okay? And we are going to go and look through that. We're going to start off with profit, as I said. So we're going to start with what is the easiest way to increase profit within a business.